Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, the spiritual enlightenment or spiritual freedom is about the death of the ego, dying in the ego self. Death of the ego means giving up the running away from the true reality, giving up the resistance with the reality, giving up the control to avoid the reality. This attitude is making us avoiding our own true nature. Our true nature is void, it's empty. It's conscious, but it's empty. So our effort itself is making us avoid our own true nature. The intention is there, putting the effort to see the true self, but somehow the effort is making us turn our face away from the truth. That's what's happening in this spiritual journey. So, death of the ego means to give up. Now, giving up, the idea of giving up itself makes the fear resurface in us, isn't it? Giving up means uncertainty, unknown, not knowing the next moment. And that is scary for the ego self. And ego hates the uncertainty, unknown. And the ego self clings to physical identification, mental identification. That's where the ego thrives. That's where the game prolongs. The physical, mental, emotional games unfolds. And because of that, there's a struggle too. And because of the struggle, we align with the spirituality, hoping to be free. And the effort is there, but the effort is not leading to make oneself free. And why is that? And the, the reason is not able to create a true inward journey of dismantling the mind. The mind is a source of pain, the mental pain, emotional pain. Mind also creates the fear. Fear is the byproduct of the mind. And by the way, the mind is the byproduct of our experience. Our mind is a collection of ideas, and those ideas are from our experience. Full of ideas, isn't it? If you pause and ask yourself, where are my ideas coming from? They are not yours for sure. It's not present from the beginning. It's those all ideas are simply collected from our experience. Whatever experience we go through in life always leaves a residue as an idea, isn't it? The idea of likes and dislikes, negative, positive. We compartmentalize the joy and pain from the experience. There's a yes and no world in our head. And that yes and no world is the dualistic view, inviting something and rejecting something, controlling and resisting with ideas. And there are certain ideas that are ingrained in us, and that has become our preference. We are moving with that in our lives, and we are tweaking that reference with the upgraded experience. That's what life has become so far. Upgraded preference. But no matter how upgraded preference is present in life, the fear has never ended, isn't it? The drama, the inner struggle has never ended. The fear is still there. The emotional fluctuation is still there. The conflict with the world is still there. Basically, there's no sense of ease in oneself. There's no calmness. Why? Because we are not able to see our own true nature. We can pick up the pieces from the world and live our life, but anything we pick up from the world and try to maintain our life, and even we're able to sustain certain flow, certain fun in life, that attachment itself is a rejection of one's own true nature. And the rejecting, ignoring our true nature is the way to suffer in life. Yes, we don't want suffering. We don't want that physical suffering, mental suffering, emotional suffering. The desire to be free is there. The desire to be happy is in everyone's head, everyone's heart. However, the desire is just an idea, it's not a reality yet. And it is not a reality because ignoring one's own true nature. Anything we are anything we're trying or anything we're attached to itself is the act or the sign of fear of oneself. Again, our true nature is emptiness, true nature is void. And as I mentioned, the ego is afraid of the void. When you don't know who you are, who you are right now is an ego self. An ego self is afraid of the void. The ego self thrives on certain identification and prolonging the story on that identification. And and who we are is about giving up the identification, becoming empty. And ego is afraid of being nobody. Nobody means the death of the ego, giving up, death of the ego. And ego doesn't like it. That's why the ego self runs away. Ego self resists the unknown. Ego self control create a boundary to avoid the uncertainty. And this attitude is in everyone's. In a human level, everyone is there. Unless the person awakens to their true nature, that's a different scenario. Once the truth is seen, the person becomes that, and any identification is simply to connect the dots in the relative world. But if the truth is not there, not seen, the effort is put out to avoid the reality of oneself, okay, which is the emptiness. That the truth of who we are is empty, which is the consciousness. The nature of the consciousness is conscious and empty, void. So, and the reason we are ingrained in the layers is because that's how the life is. The physical world provides fun. It colors our mind. And that's what it is. And that the coloring of the mind from the world, outer world, makes us ingrained in the world, in the mind, because the physical world is more real to ego self than the unknown or void. Void means nothing. Emptiness means nothing. Away from the fun, away from the support. And that's where the ego is afraid of the whole spiritual journey. But here's the thing, the spiritual journey isn't about neglecting the world. You have the body, you need the body to awaken to the truth. If there's no body, there's no awakening. So you need the body to realize the awakening, to realize the truth. You need. So the body is there. And you need support from the relative world to sustain the body. That's what it is. You got to do that. You cannot ignore it. But here's the thing, waking up to one's own true nature or awakening to the truth is about investigating one's own mind. That's it. Investigating our attitude of controlling things, running away from the world within, or resisting. All these three attitudes that is happening in life, we need to investigate. Investigating these three attitude is itself is investigating the mind. And when you investigate the mind in a way to trace the mind backward, to see the nature of the mind, how the mind comes into existence and how the mind becomes real. And when we are thorough in investigating our attitude, our action, why we do what we do, if we are thorough in investigating, that investigation, the examining oneself, becomes thorough. Or we gotta be thorough in investigating our attitudes. And that prepares you. That prepares us, that investigating in a way that we're dismantling the mind is the path that is making us face towards the truth. You're peeling the mind to see what is left when the mind is removed, when the mind is dismantled. And that is you without the mind. That you is void, it's empty, but conscious. The journey is about resting in who we are as a conscious being. It's the journey to realize the nature of the consciousness. It's a journey to awaken to one's own third eye. It's a journey to awaken to Christ consciousness. It's a journey to awaken to Shiva's nature. Whatever religion you are aligned with you right now, if you turn the awareness back to yourself and you dismantle the mind, what is left is that. But that is not an idea. It's not a belief. And it's not an experience. It exists, but it's not an experience. But if you want to call it an experience, then it's the experience of no self, the experience of no mind, the experience of void, or the experience of the plain sight truth. But it's not an experience for me because it's not coloring the consciousness. When you're coloring the consciousness, then we can say it's an experience. But it's taking out all the colors. So in that sense, it's not an experience. It's about seeing the background that allow all experience to come and go. So we are trying to get to the background that supports everything. All things appear and disappear. And that is everything and nothing at the same time. And recognizing, seeing that is awakening to the truth or enlightening oneself. That is spiritual freedom. That's that. So, death of the ego makes you get there. How to create the death of the ego? Giving up. But giving up is not throwing away. Giving up cannot happen until you investigate your mind, until you until you examine your mind thoroughly. Giving up, it just is an act of ego. So it's a pretense. So to make it real, self-inquiry, trace your mind backward all the way on until nothing is left. That's how. Okay, thanks for watching this video. I hope this channel helps you to point you towards direction, and I hope it's doing that. Yeah, support this channel through a subscription if you see the help. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's all in this video. Take care for now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.